So getting back to sales and converting anyone, whether it's a lead or whether it's a sphere of influence, wherever the source is, because all your sales are going to come from some type of source. It could be a referral, it could be an internet source, it could be a vendor referral, it could be a sphere referral, a past client referral, it could be an internet lead. All sources have their different conversion rates. How quickly can I convert this into a closing? So when we're talking about conversions, you're going to want to look at it always based on quality and quantity. And we already went over quality is the quality of the conversations that I'm having. And that's made up of the information that I'm giving. Am I highly informed and am I giving value through information? And then the other quality is what is the way I'm having the conversation? So it's what am I saying and how am I saying it? And what I mean by how am I saying it, how intentional am I being when I'm saying it? Am I saying it in a specific order? Am I saying it with a specific tone? Because depending on how you need to deliver the information, that's why you studying tone, Danny, is so important. And it's not to manipulate people, it's to influence them. Because if you, have the quality of information, you know a lot of time when it comes to insurance, what is the best route for this client to take? You're their advisor. You need to guide them towards the best route. As a fiduciary, you have to do their best interest. And sometimes the best interest is don't do business with me, right? Stay at your current policy. And that's where the fiduciary comes into it. But in order for you to have that influence over them, studying tone is absolutely important. And then also not just tone, but pacing, volume, being very conscious of how we're talking. Because if I say things louder, it insinuates more urgency, I'm angry, I'm disappointed, disapproval, it's a demand, right? But if I say things quieter, it insinuates this is really valuable. So understanding these things and learning how to do it will increase your conversion. But you can increase your conversion as well through quantity. Quantity is the quantity of times in which we try to have those conversations. There are different ways that we can touch different lead points. You know, we can text message them, we can email them, we can call them, we can see them in person. Obviously, out of all four of those, which one is the most intimate form of communication?
See them in person.
Exactly. And then what's the second most intimate?
Get them on the phone.
Exactly. And then which one is the third most intimate?
Text them.
Exactly. And then the last?
Email.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you already know the quality of the types of touches that you can have. But in order to be effective, especially with the least amount of intimate ones, you have to send way more touch points, way more quantity of them. But even seeing them in person or talking to them on the phone, it's a follow-up game. The fortune is always in the follow-up. If I want to make a fortune, I gotta follow up a lot. Especially the colder the lead, do you think that there's more follow-up needed or less follow-up needed?
More.
More. Unless there's a tremendous amount of urgency. You just happen to catch somebody right at the right moment. Because that's why the follow-up there is so necessary. Because that's really what you're trying to do is catch them at the right moment. Right moment of whether they're even available to talk or whether there's a need for your service.
Yeah.
Because when people say no to you, they're not saying no to you, they're saying no to your service right now in this point in time. They're not even saying no forever. They're just saying right now. They don't know that that's what they're saying, but really, if you catch somebody right at the right moment, they will switch over, or they will switch over to you if they're confident in you and it's the right moment. That's why quantity is so important. That's why you getting started on like the colder leads, it's gonna make you so much better for a couple of reasons. It's gonna make you a lot better because it's a harder sale. And it's harder because you have to follow up more, and then you have to convince a stranger that you're an authority figure worth trusting so they can trust you with their information. So that's a harder sale for that reason. But also starting with colder leads as well is essential because you're young. And many of your friends and family, they're not gonna wanna trust you because they don't wanna be the guinea pig. They don't know how long you're gonna be doing this. They don't know how consistent you're gonna be doing it. They don't know me and Greg. Their information is just gonna go into our database. We're gonna be servicing them, and then you are off next year doing something completely different in their mind, and now they're stuck with a service provider that they don't have a direct relationship with. So if I were you, I would be smashing these leads, but really, honestly, in the beginning, Danny, you're not working for commission, you're working for experience. Experience in regards to information, so you can become an authority figure in the insurance realm and in the sales world. But you're also working for experience for building a callus, call reluctance callous. I'm not scared anymore to call people. I'm not scared to follow up with them very frequently. I understand I'm in a rhythm now. This is part of my job now. Like, I've been out of like one-on-one sales in terms from business to consumer for quite some time now. I don't really call around and try to convert leads. The only ones that I convert are coming to me. For a long time, early in my career, I was very B2C. My stuff is more B2B, where I'm, as a business owner, talking to other young business owners, AKA salespeople or people that own other companies, trying to persuade them to fold into one of my companies. So I'm still selling, make no mistake of it, it's just a different type of sale. So I never lost the muscle, but my muscle looks like a little bit different because I'm doing what's more called an elephant shooting. And what I mean by elephant shooting is I'm trying to get bigger sales. They have longer sales cycles, so my follow-up sequence is a little less frequent. That being said, in closing, with the internet leads, you're gonna try to call them 7 to 14 times within a 2 week period, a 10 to 14 day period. You're gonna try them all different types a day. And again, a lot of them aren't gonna pick up, they're never gonna call you back, and that's fine. You're just building that muscle, that call reluctance muscle, and that muscle where if you don't pick up this phone, it gets very heavy. And that's what call reluctance is. Study tone, pace, and volume, not even just what to say. By just listening honestly to the realtors that I have working for me, listening to me talk to people on the phone, even today in person, you'll notice. Like Dale, my recruiter, he in 1 year learned a lot because he'll notice that I'll talk one way to one person and another way to another person because I'll just immediately be observant and I'll see the way that they need to be communicated with. Some people just need to be talked to in a certain way. Some people need to be talked with in a certain way, right? Some people just need to be listened to. It's just identifying those things. So by you watching us do it that have been doing it for a long time, you're gonna also learn the skill of being observant. Being observant is a early onset of being resourceful. And being resourceful is one of the most valued skills that you can have, but it's one of the most underappreciated or most unknown skills that people have. What I mean by being resourceful is problems will always come. It's being able to solve those problems, but super resourcefulness is seeing the problems before they even come and solving them before they even come. So a way that we can become resourceful is being observant. And just by being observant, just start watching people. What does their posture look like? Are their arms crossed? Are they not crossed? Are they blinking a lot? Is this person sweating a lot? What does their tone sound like? When they speak, do they look down? Do they give eye contact? Do they look up? And just take mental notes of it and just start having like little games like that. For example, sometimes when I am, say, at a dinner or something and I'm with someone and they get up and go to the bathroom, I'll think to myself, okay, what color blouse was that woman wearing? Just to test my mind, to see how observant am I being in the moment. Because the more you can do that, the more you can be in a room and you can start reading the whole room at once. First, you want to get good at it one-on-one, but then once you get really good at it, you can start getting observant through your peripheral as well. And you can start scanning the room and start seeing things that are happening, and that opens a whole new level of cognition. Because then when you're at a networking event, I could be talking to you, but I could be listening and also witnessing something else that's going on. So that way when our conversation's done, I know how to break right into the next conversation and meet this stranger and win them over immediately. Because now I'm going back to the quantity and quality. I have information based on what their interests are, the conversation that they just had or whatever. It makes me easier to get in there. And then I also have the quality of where I can swing my tone and do all the controllables as well. Like for example, I was at a networking event last night. I know if a guy always wears Ferragamo shoes or something like that, right? And I don't ever stare down at him, but I can see from across the way. And this guy's always wearing them or whatever, right? So when people introduce me to him, they're like, "Hey, Alan, this is Danny. I know you guys don't know each other." "Oh no, I don't know you, Danny, but I know I always see you with those Ferragamos, buddy." Boom, right away. And what this does consciously is just saying, "Hey, I appreciate you, I witnessed things," but subconsciously it's like, wow, this man is on his shit. He is observant. He is pointed something out, a pattern that he's noticed too. I'll also end with this. Remember when we were talking, when we first started meeting up and I started talking about patterns? Yeah. You always want pattern recognition in your life. And what I mean by that is You want to be able to identify patterns within yourself, the world, or other people, things that are happening over and over again. Now, if a pattern is good, you want to endorse it and double down on it and amplify it and really draw that pattern out to make us even better. And if a pattern is poor, you want to identify it so we can start to break it and replace it with something new. But you can't identify patterns, Danny, if you're not observant. So playing this game one-on-one and these little insignificant things that don't seem to matter that much, but if we start doing it, then all of a sudden we're extremely observant, and then we can be open and see patterns more. And once we can see patterns, we can recognize patterns in other people, we can endorse what they're doing or help break their patterns and help change them for the better, or help influence them. So hopefully if we love them, they can change for the better. But most of all, we can do it with ourselves. And we can start really seeing like the patterns that we're having, and we can be coachable and coach ourselves as well and improve our one-on-one conversations, improve our networking ability, improve our sales conversions, improve our relationships with people, whatever it is. Everything is connected. And that's why I always say the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.